nerds and nerdettes. Today you are gifted with the best. My name is Andrew Philip Elias. If you don't like it, you can suck my penis. And today I am joined by the stupendous Mr. Aldo Mendez. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good. And yourself, brother?
I am great. My energy is up. My spirits are high. Do you know why?
Why?
Because we watched Darling in the Franxx this week.
Darling in the Franxx was pretty good, man.
I feel good. You didn't like it. I don't know why you're lying at the very beginning.
Hey!
You didn't like it, and I'm tired of you already lying.
It's not super bad.
I liked it. I enjoyed
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into
it first. You want to get into some housekeeping notes? I know you wanted to announce some new things at the beginning of this episode in case somebody gets lost by the end.
Did I?
Yeah. Well, we can announce it's the end of September.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So, the giveaway / hashtag / everything else.
Giveaway, donation-thon.
Donation-thon. It's coming to an end. By the end of this episode, we're going to announce the winner.
Yes. And... go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And we are also going to start with a new hashtag for next month.
What is it?
It's going to be hashtag NerdyPause. Because we're gonna be donating for every time you use this hashtag and post your favorite anime pets or your own pets. If you post a picture with that to our mention at Between Nerds on Twitter, you'll be entering the new giveaway.
Right, and so that's hashtag NERDYPAWS hashtag NerdyPause. We are going to be donating to the El Paso Humane Society. And that's going to be an amalgamation of likes, retweets, and hashtag usage. And then we're going to be doing the same thing. If you use the hashtag and post a picture, you're going to be entered into the giveaway.
Yes.
We have something spicy by the end of next month.
Well, yeah. I think we've been having something spicy all these giveaways.
Honestly, and like you've been mentioning this all this week. This little Grave of Fireflies tin it's dope. This is something that like you want to hold on to like for years and just like it's a hell of a collector's item. And, like, we only had 4 entries total. So that's Valentino Hernandez Jr., who we had on, like, 2 episodes ago. His brother, Frank Hernandez. We had Mr. Alex Martinez and J. Alejandro Garcia.
Yes, sir.
Literally 4 entries. I'll run a little roulette. I'll start the random number generator here on Google by the end of the episode, and we'll announce who won. Is that all you want to talk about at the beginning? Or?
Well, yeah, and what you guys think about the last episode, email us again at betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about the potato quality audio.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. We just got that figured out. But I don't know if you guys noticed, we got a new intro song.
I love it. So, shout out to Thomas Zapien. Zapien? He's hella Mexican.
He's your friend.
How would you pronounce it?
Zapien?
Zapien.
Sapien? I don't know.
Okay, shout out to Thomas.
I'm not reading it.
The man single-handedly taught me Yu-Gi-Oh! And I appreciate him making us this intro song because I literally paid that man $400 for a stack of cardboard last week, a stack of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, so I feel like this is a fair exchange.
Yeah, definitely. That's a lot of cards. That's a lot of cardboard.
That's a lot of cardboard. Actually, it was only like 20 cards. Isn't that...
How much?
$400. I paid him $400 last Friday.
Yeah, but for how many cards?
Oh, I don't know. Like
okay.
50 or so.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, so this week we talked about Darling in the Franxx. Darling in the Franxx, beloved anime, started in 2018.
Yeah.
It was an amalgamation of 3 studios working together. That is A1 Pictures, Cloverworks, and Studio Trigger. We know Studio
both good.
All these are hidden studios. We've already watched something by Cloverworks. We watched The Promised Neverland.
Which is great. I loved it.
We loved it. That's probably one of the favorite things you've seen since we've been doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Besides Madoka,
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. Something that really hit me good. Yeah, definitely. Promised Neverland.
And we were talking about similarities between the two earlier.
Yes.
It was also produced by Studio Trigger, which we watched Gridman.
Yes, Gridman.
This is Darling in the Franxx is basically the exact same plot as a Studio Gainax production called Gurren Lagann. And as we know from the Gridman episode, I was explaining that Studio Trigger was started by Mr. Hiroyuki Imaishi, who left Gainax to start Studio Trigger.
Okay.
And lastly was A1 Pictures, which I don't know. They made Sword Art Online.
Okay.
But they have a bunch. Like I'm going through their wiki right now. They have a bunch of productions on here. Your Lie in April, fire. Honestly, I'm surprised we haven't watched Your Lie in April. Amazing. But a lot of these are like anime. If we're being completely honest, like just going through their production list, there are a lot of misses more than hit. Is how I'd describe A1 Pictures.
But I mean, this Darling the Franxx. This is the first time This is my first time watching it. You explained last episode that a lot of the fandom were mad at the last 4 episodes.
Yeah, 4 or 5 episodes. We were going through petitions to like fix the last 4 episodes. It felt like Game of Thrones almost.
Yeah, and then it's funny because we were just talking of like where we would end it. You know, we were saying like episode 15, 16.
Yeah, like, and I think that's so funny because I wanted to say episode 18 or something, but when me and you were talking about episode plots, I realized that like
it's way earlier.
Yeah, I stopped liking episodes at like episode 15.
Yeah, and right now I didn't know that was a Gridman. I mean, you can totally see the similarities between.
I want you to watch Gurren Lagann because even last week when we were talking about Space Dandy, I was talking about Gurren Lagann like as characters and animation. I need you to watch Gurren Lagann, or every time we watch something by Studio Trigger, it's not going to make sense because I keep talking about
something like Gurren Lagann, and I'm like just like yes.
Yeah, you're just shaking your head at me, and I'm like every single Studio Trigger production is just a derivative of Gurren Lagann.
Mm-hmm.
And it might need to be some homework you do on your own, or we're gonna hack the poll at some point and just I'm gonna make
which we don't hack polls.
We don't hack polls.
Yeah,
our version of hacking the polls, we just won't do a poll.
Yeah, exactly. We're just schedule it.
Yeah, we're just gonna say fuck the poll. I need Aldo to watch Gurren Lagann, but that's not happening next week.
No, that's not happening next week.
Okay, continuing on. As far as like production aesthetics, the character models look like Gurren Lagann, which I know means something to you.
Yeah.
It being a mecha anime,
it reminds me of the Gridman.
It does. It does. Because they're just big ass kaiju fights, basically, which is exactly what Gridman is. But the models for the mechs look like Gurren Lagann mechs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So basically, I know I'm looking straight at the wiki right now. It says that that animation was shared between A1 Pictures and Studio Trigger. It looks just like Studio Trigger. Like I see way more of Studio Trigger than I see A1 Pictures.
Okay.
And I enjoyed this week. I did because when I got halfway through the anime, I'm in like episode 11, 12. I was happy. I was so happy with my viewing experience, even though I knew what was going to happen later. I was just happy to be re-experiencing it because the end of Darling the Franxx did me so dirty personally that I had to just like toss it to the side. Like it was like, fuck you. Like it's like it's like if a friend betrays you or something. Like you stab me in the back, like you're dead to me.
When we were talking about this last week, you had mentioned like, dude, we're gonna watch this. This has a lot of fan service. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I went into the whole. I started, and like while I was getting again by episode 10, when I started like putting aside all the horniness of like the anime,
right?
I was like, okay, I can see where this is going. You know, it's getting a little bit, more deep. It's not as shallow anymore, and then. Like you said, like episode 50, you get to episode 15, and it's just like, wait, what's going on? The mood changes completely.
It does, and for no reason. To me, like I guess with so many production companies involved, I guess you would blame the director. But I'm sure if you talk to said director, he'd be like, no, it's all these fucking like companies telling me what to do. It just seems like there were too many hands in the pot. There were too many people trying to pull this anime every different way that like. None of them could agree on what it could be, so they were like, you know what, you'll get Act 3. We'll get Act 2, they'll get Act 1, and then...
We'll just fucking go
It's like the most recent Star Wars trilogy. Like, it doesn't match up. You know what I mean? Because, who's the guy that directed Episode 7?
Oh, I don't know. Not out of top of my
Abrams.
head.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J.
So
Abrams.
so Abrams directs episode 7. They pull up with some different dude for episode 8, and
Uh-huh.
he cucked up what episode 7 did. So it was up to J.J. Abrams to try to set it straight in episode 9. But at that point, it was too late, right?
Mhm.
That's kind of how Darling in the Franxx.
It feels very shitty. It feels very shitty towards the end.
Feels shitty.
Yeah, like the amount of shittiness, it just starts piling up.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's fucking talk about this. 2018. The creator was it Atsushi Nigashori? Nigashori, that's the
Something
director.
like that. Yeah,
Creator?
Nishigori is how I would
Nishigori.
pronounce it. Nishigori. I think.
Nishigori, and then yeah, so we have this story that revolves around Hiro and Zero Two.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a love story, which at its core is just a big 24 episode metaphor for losing your virginity and going through puberty.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say I wouldn't say very much so like slice of life.
Oh, it is. It is. I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're bringing that up
Yeah.
without me bringing it up,
Yeah.
because like in the middle, like once it gets all about the relationships between the characters, it's just slice of lifey.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
besides
love it.
anything else, yeah, everything's going nice. It's like, oh, I could relate to this when
Bro.
whatever, you know.
The B plots in like the middle episodes about like just the kids doing slice of life activities together could be its own anime. Like
Yes.
it'd be a well written anime even in and of itself.
And then you pointed out to me, it's like, have you been paying attention to any of these outros? And I did subconsciously, like I thought about it, but I dropped the thought because I didn't notice that Zero Two is like wearing like normal clothes, crossing the street.
Right, it's
and,
like it's like an alternate reality of what would these characters be doing if they were in a real like
give me
high
that.
school setting. Yes, yeah. These are all right written characters. Like it's a little relationship trashy. There's a love triangle square. off the darn
Like
going
how
on,
like how other than mechas are you gonna explain a like 3-way fucking experience? You know what I'm saying?
It's so funny because when I showed Karen the trailer, Darling the Franxx, the trailer shows nothing about how fucking horny it is. It shows nothing about mechas. So you literally are 10 minutes into episode 1 of Darling in the Franxx, and you're like, that trailer fucking lied. Like,
Yep. And it is fucking ridiculous because episode 1 tells us that it introduces us to Hiro. He's like in a lake and he sees Zero Two showering and he gets infatuated with this
all
lady.
their names are numbers.
Yeah, all their names are numbers. Hiro gets just infatuated with her,
Right.
Because she's different. She has like horns.
Code 16. Well, first he's walking by this lake and he just notices like a girl's panties and like a girl's military uniform
like,
sitting
ugh.
on a lawn. And
Like he doesn't see the lake in front of it. It's like, oh, I wonder how this clothes got here.
I wonder how these clothes got here, and his immediate reaction is to pick up her panties. And like and some big booby pink haired bitch with bangs pops out of a lake and starts licking his face.
Yeah, and this is Zero Two. You told me that the stocks on this waifu were high, and they are.
These are the highest stock of the waifu. Honestly, I have never seen any waifu with a bigger fan base, at least out of people I know, than Zero Two.
Yeah, and then in the first episode, I'm like, oh god, these nerds really like this because of how this show is. Again, you get past all that shit later on. But then, at one point, he calls her. I mean, at this point, when I'm watching it, he calls her, "Are you a parasite?" At this point, I thought that was like what she was.
Yeah.
You know, because she has horns and stuff. But I didn't think that the parasites were what the kids grow up to be in this fucking world.
Right. There's a lot of are they they're more like allegories on like there's a lot of subtext in titles. So parasites are the pilots of these giant robots, which we know to be Franxx.
Yes.
2 X's. And so literally the title of the anime is just called Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah,
Zero Two just calls
Hiro Darling. So it's Hiro in the Frank. Yeah.
Hiro in the Franxx is literally the anime.
Yeah. and you said like, and then I like how they just let this shit go, like the horn. it could be like a so horny moment, and the only way to like dismiss it is by making the male character being so like embarrassed of what's going on.
Yeah. Because there's some strong female characters in this. The women in this know exactly what they fucking want. So they know exactly what they want. Like 02 and Ichigo know exactly what they want, and his name is fucking Hiro.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, that's it for the rest of the anime. And it's like what you're saying. The boys are all they're all really passive, kind of beta-y.
They're like, don't do that. Put your clothes back on. It's like,
what's a kiss? I'm scared.
Yeah, and it's again, like you said, first episode is it's. How would you explain them getting into this mechas?
That's in episode 2.
That's episode 2? Yeah.
Okay. For episode 1, they don't show how it's driven, but they do show that 02 needs a co-pilot.
Because she's a partner killer, pretty much. Because she kills her last partner, right?
Right. Nobody has been... So every Franxx needs both a male and a female pilot to run it. But nobody has ever been able to ride with 02 more than 3 times before dying. And we see that in the lake scene, because there's this decrepit dude with like an oxygen mask on, who's totally about to die. So then cut to the end of the episode, he dies and 02's trying to pilot this Franxx by himself. But then she picks Hiro up and he's magically able to drive it without trying, and he just kind of blacks out while doing so and forgets how he was able to ride this Franxx. So then that's when episode 2 starts, like we were saying, and it's just a metaphor for sex. Like, driving these Franxxes, like the positions and everything. So the female pilot is called a pistol. And if you know about plant anatomy, that's the female part of the flower.
Yeah, pistol with an I, right? Not pistol. Yeah.
So it's a pistol, and so the girls are bent over, doggy style, into
almost like riding a bike, like a very high speed bike,
like a. What's that movie from the 80s where they
Tron.
The way they ride Tron bikes. So that's how the girls are, with their asses in front of the boys' faces. The guys are in like a chair.
In a gaming chair kind of thing.
But then the girls' their bodysuits have controllers that stick out of their
legs,
their butt cheeks.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
And so the men are literally riding the Franxx by holding controllers sticking out of these girls' butts. And even in episode 2, they really, really want to push that it's about having sex, because when they meld minds during the writing.
But throughout the whole connection or whatever, there's emphasize on the girls being like, oh my god, and this and that.
Like there's a lot of suggestive modes, and then even the boys are like, don't make weird sounds, it's only natural.
Exactly. That's exactly from there. And man, it's just so crazy. But again, I was so disappointed at the nerds at this point, but then
you forgot nerds were horny and were like, and I don't know what you were expecting, and I didn't want to break it to you.
I was gonna expect. I mean, I've seen it before in some other animes, but this is I don't know. It's like, really. It's because at the beginning you don't get the notion of where it's going, right. But later on it gets a little better, then it gets shitty.
But still, at its core, it's showing you that this is about becoming a sexual being. This entire anime is about puberty.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about growing with a partner sexually.
Mm-hmm.
All caps sexually.
Yeah, and even as the anime progresses, besides anybody else that nobody else can do this besides Hiro and Zero, where they connect so good, quote unquote. They fuck so good that even the mechanisms of their mecha are more efficient. They're more they're more. He gets a new gun, or he gets new wings or some shit.
Through the ever increasing power of their bond, they are able to increase the power output of their Franxx.
Yeah.
Which is just like, again, like you're growing sexually with your partner and like becoming stronger for it. That's all it's saying. And I think it's really funny. So episode 3 is just still a lot of the same. So episode 2, it's just trying to explain to you like, hey, this is gonna be like really weirdly horny. Don't be shocked because that's what everything else is gonna be. By episode 3, you're actually learning about character development at some point a little bit.
Yeah.
So you finally learn Ichigo, who is the chick with the blackish, bluish hair. It's blue, right?
Yeah, it's blue. It's definitely blue.
Bluish,
she has a pin.
Yeah. Shoulder length blue hair. She is absolutely like head over heels obsessed with Hito, who is, after writing in a Franxx with 02, is now obsessively obsessed with her. He got that good wop one time and now can't stop thinking about it. Shout out to Lloyd Parker Jr.
Shout out to
And because of this, his childhood best friend Ichigo, who has always had a crush on Hito, is now insanely jealous.
Yeah.
Insanely, but she's already got a new man.
Yeah. Yeah. She already has the teams, and that's where I was gonna go. So later on, we find out that in this world, children are being kept emotionally stable, strong, well fed, for their endpoint to fight these monsters, which are called the
Klaxosaurs, yes.
Klaxosaurs. And because they're attacking what they're called plantations, which is like this little like hub city kind of.
It's a dome. It's a floating dome, kind of. It's a whole city on a spaceship.
Yeah. So in this world, we have these children that are becoming teenagers. That these are the only people that can control this monster, this mechas, this Franxx, to protect the world. And because the adults get fucking. What is it called? They just get fixed or something?
Well, they explain that way later.
But just to give some context on the fucking anime, because we've just been
absolutely.
talking.
We hadn't talked yet about like the floating garden. So this like forest within this bubble city is called the garden, and this is where the kids are growing up, almost like on a isolated farmhouse almost. You were talking about how it reminds you of The Promised Neverland.
Yeah.
Which is, we just went over it, which is a Cloverworks film. Like, they're so similar. And, I don't know, by episode 3, you're just learning about relationships, and it's about Hiro and Goro.
Also, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm sorry that they get paired with their most compatible person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And Ichigo, she was paired with Goro, which, dude... Throughout the whole thing,
Head cuck in charge?
Yeah, man. Will Smith, you got somebody fighting for you, bro.
Oh, no.
Dude.
That was mean.
That was mean.
No.
He's not going to listen to it.
I feel bad for Will Smith.
But, man, and yeah, like, Ichigo, because when they were growing up, I mean, fucking Hiro is always nice and everything. Almost
he was like the smart one, the talented one. Everyone knew he was going to, like, grow up to be something. You know what I mean?
Almost like 5 centimeters. Like in the part where on second episode, where that girl like once almost like that. It almost gave me the same vibe
because like she has such a big crush on him because she realizes that he's too talented and special to be where he is in life right now. So even if everyone else thinks he's a little bit of a deadbeat that doesn't have a lot going for him, she recognizes his not his passion but his talent almost like his hidden potential. And her plan is through her spiritual butt connection she's gonna bring that hidden connection out of him.
Yes.
So, which I think is funny. So, Hito lost his original partner, but after piloting the Franxx in episode 1 with 02, it is seen that he does have the latent potential to be a Stamen, which is the male Franxx driver. So Ichigo volunteers in episode 3 to try to pilot her Franxx with him as the Stamen.
Correct. Because
she just really wants that Hito mind melding. Like, she wants it real bad. But I wrote like a couple... I'm laughing while you're talking because I'm reading my notes from episode 3, right?
Yeah.
So they're going through this trial run of driving her Franxx, and then Ichigo just keeps saying things like "come to me" while they're docking, and she just keeps saying really suggestive things like "please go into my mind, please get in there real good." Like she wants to be drilled by Hito's mind melding potential.
Yeah, man, and
She wants it bad, bro.
and it's so crazy because at some point they're like low compatibility, right? Them two, and like they're like, oh no, I didn't like it or something like that. Like when it was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. And then what happens in episode 3, 2? They get like.
That's all my notes, right?
That's all your notes for 3. Yeah, Mitsuru controls Zero good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he but he almost fucking dies. He almost gets deaded, and
He did it.
yeah, that's it. What I have for number 3.
The early conflict is that Hito desperately wants to ride Sterlitzia, which is Zero Two's Franxx, with her again. Like, that's all he thinks about. That's all he fucking talks about. Is just this fucking... He got a taste one time, and now he can't get Zero Two out of his fucking...
And because he survived, like, he's like, oh, wow, he survived, you know, riding with...
He didn't get hurt. Like, when... Through the melding process of Sterlitzia with Zero Two, everyone just keeps dying, and it's not explained why at the beginning. So in episode 4, Flap, the squad, the main cast of characters that we're following, they're their own little Franxx driving unit.
Yeah, so we see like this kind of like couples kind of, you know, relationship between the children or like the teens in this house.
Right.
And throughout this whole melding, these Franxx, I mean, they have to do it good because they have to destroy these monsters. So like, kind of like
the Klaxosaurs, yeah.
Yeah, the Klaxosaurs, and it kind of starts going into like, oh well, you need to think about how they're feeling, and you gotta do this, and you gotta get to know them better, because that's the whole thing. Because nobody knows what, you know, being a boyfriend and a girlfriend is, or being, you know, like.
Yeah, no one is teaching these kids what, like, a 12, 13-year-old... Like, okay, when was the first time you got, like, the talk? Or, like, when was, like, your elementary school sanctioned, like, sex ed tutorial?
I don't think I ever had one.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Not
Really?
I think so, not in school.
So your parents gave you the talk then?
Well, not necessarily directly, but my, like, brothers and my cousins.
You learned about sex, like, through a third-person source?
Yeah. Like, my brother or my
Really?
cousin, yeah.
Okay, maybe my parents were fucking weird. When I was, like, 9, 10 years old, apparently I'd been bugging my parents because my babysitter got pregnant. And I didn't understand how that could happen. Because, like, my parents were always just like, where do babies come from? Oh, well, the mommy and dad love you very much.
Remember the story? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, how the fuck did my 17-year-old babysitter get pregnant?
Yeah.
Which made no sense in my head. So then my stepdad sat me down. This man made a PowerPoint presentation.
It's starting to explain a lot.
A literal PowerPoint presentation, bro. This fool pulled graphics from the internet and everything. And sat me down and explained to me, like...
See this? This is herpes.
No, it's something like that. And then... But I bring up, like, the school thing because when I was in 5th grade, I remember our school, like, really sat us all down. And, like, you had to get, like, a permission slip signed by your parents, and they would really, like, give you a whole ass presentation on what, like, the birds and the bees were.
See, I started school here in the USA in 5th grade. I remember having health class.
You're telling me they're not fucking in Juarez?
No, yeah, but, like, they weren't having any of these discussions over there. Not that I remember.
Really?
Yeah. You know, like, you hear, like, from, like, somebody, you know, that one kid that finds out, and they're like, do you guys know what this is?
Because Americans are dirty.
Huh?
Americans are fucking dirty.
Yeah.
We're teaching about kids and sex in school.
And then, yeah, dude, but, yeah, that's how that was. But, yeah, nobody's telling these kids what kissing is, what having
I forgot how we were trying to relate this to the enemy.
Yeah.
Right, so these kids never got the talk, which was my original point.
Yeah.
So none of them understand these weird puberty feelings that they're having. like they'll see like the girls' butts in like in the Franxx uniforms, which are just tights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just bodysuits. And
Yeah.
the boys will be like, "Oh, why are the girls hot today? What's going on?" Like,
Yeah, and they're just like I don't know the way they sit and everything's going, and then you even see this little like animation on the back of their helmets, of the girls' helmets, and it's like balls like up, like going up like this.
Like an indent. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, like the metaphor is you're mind melding with your girl while you are staring at the back of her head in doggy style.
And honestly, they explained it so well of how that might happen, because they're like, oh, well, he needs yellow blood cells.
Oh
and shit. Yeah.
He needs yellow, white blood cells
And
or something.
If they don't have, if they're not up to it, they can have the elixir thing, which we found out later, the elixir shot or whatever. And they're like, well, if he dies, then he dies.
The only note I wrote for episode 4 was Hiro says, "I can't feel where I end and you begin."
Yeah.
So the only plot to episode 4 is that Hiro finally gets back in a Franxx with 02, and he's just freaking out that like he's like, "Oh, I feel you. I feel your insides. I don't know where you start and I begin." Oh.
Yeah.
He keeps getting like gifted the opportunity to be in there. He doesn't know how to act.
Yeah, man, and like I said, it just goes up to like all these kids finding out about kissing is like, because I think they kiss at some point, right? Hiro and
Oh yeah, they kissed in episode 1. I'm sorry.
yeah, they kiss.
Hiro and 02 kiss, and that was how like he was able to write her Franxx, because when she pulls him into her Franxx, Starlitzia, she kisses him and is like, "This is how I'm claiming you," or some language like that. Some language like owning him.
Very strong womanly.
Through kissing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then there's another reference, a different reference to kissing in this anime, which they call when the two station gardens meet together, like two different city towns floating spaceships. When they meet and exchange magma energy, they also call it that kissing.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that.
In the beginning of episode 5, two different stations, the one we're following and a different one, are air quotes kissing, and the kids are sitting on top of the balcony watching it happen. And you see the boys talking like, "Oh, do you know what kissing is?" "Nah, I don't know what kissing is, but you don't know what kissing is either." And then the girls are just in the background like, "Y'all are fucking losers. Like, you don't know what kissing is?"
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Which is just like, it's just puberty-esque, like trying to discover sexuality on your own before having it explained to you.
Mm-hmm. And throughout this throughout these natural kind of like things, you're getting to know your partner and stuff like that, and it just gets like they get better at battles, which I really like. Like we saw on episode 4, I'm sure they were or episode 3, they went into like a practice match with this little dude with the little ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, somehow they can contain those but not the other ones in some reason. But the fighting is really cool. They're both in like this thing, and like how they, I remember this hold on, let me get my notes here. I remember one character. It's the Sorome?
Oh, okay. Which one's
Yeah,
that?
the little dude.
Oh yeah, the annoying one.
Yeah, where he like kinda tries to do something without the mental consent of the girl, and they kind of like fuck up or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the now in episode 5, they're just like, well, they're just trying to connect more. Everybody's just trying to like.
Everyone's trying to learn how to fuck each other's brains.
Yeah.
But see, this is where like you were talking about it. This has a lot of slice of life elements to it, because in the first like 10 episodes, the love triangle is the main plot beat. That we are following triangular relationship of 02, Hiro, and Ichigo, which at the end of episode 5 is fucking like domestic girlfriend level spicy, like people slapping each other, being like, "Hey, don't touch my man," kind of thing. Like Ichigo grabs 02, takes her outside, and is like, "Hey, I need you to leave Hiro alone because that's my man." And then 02's just like, well, I don't see him fucking with you, so what's going on?
Yeah.
And Ichigo just is crying and bawling her eyes out, and Goro's watching the whole time. And
yeah, and it's a weird situation because, I mean, the idea that going into these monsters is like them having sex.
Right.
Like, they already done that. They don't know each other. Like, they don't know each other, like, in that way. So they already done the thing while trying to get to know each other. So it's like...
That reminds me of our domestic girlfriend episode, because I was re-listening to it the other day. You hear a point where I'm trying to ask you, how did they have sex in domestic girlfriend without kissing first? And you're like, what do you mean? They just did it. And you hear me in the background confused, like, I only know how to make love.
What do you mean?
Like, how did they fuck without kissing? This is that. They are fucking without kissing right now.
Yes, they're fucking without kissing.
They are balls deep in each other right now, but they have yet to kiss.
Yes, and everybody's trying to figure all this shit out. Goro, dude, like I said, biggest cuck in the world.
Biggest cuck in the world. So, and originally, when we were texting about it during the week, I called it a love square rectangle thing. I don't remember. I think I said rectangle. And you corrected me. You were like, no, it is a love triangle with Goro standing in the corner recording.
Yeah, absolutely, man, because Goro does not get any love ever.
No love.
Ever.
Well, he does like the last 10 minutes of episode 24.
Yeah. Yeah, when he's grown up Goro.
Goro is the head cuck in charge. Like...
Dude, and...
Because
we see Ichigo just being so infatuated with, like I said, episode 2, 5 centimeters per second. Like, she's so obsessed with Hiro.
Right.
And, like, at this point, Hiro isn't his second time writing 02.
Bro, he's stuck with her. Like,
yeah, but the thing is, the thing is that, like, it feels like Ichigo planted the idea on everybody, like, hey, we shouldn't let them go another time because Hiro's gonna die. So they're trying to cuck out this relationship for like six of the next episodes.
Yeah, she's trying to force them to not like
you can't go. Yeah, you're gonna die.
You fuck her again, your dick's gonna fall off.
And then she's like, you should ride with me. And then Goro's on the right next to her, and it's like, yeah, dude, you should probably ride with her.
One of my notes from episode 3 is like the first scene is Goro talking to Hiro, talking about how them three, including Ichigo, are siblings, and they press that in a few episodes.
I'm sorry, who and who?
Ichigo, Goro, and Hiro. Goro calls them all siblings because they grew up together.
They grew up together, yes.
Because they were in the same part of the garden together.
Yeah, the same group.
Yeah, they were in the initial group together, so they basically grew up together.
Yeah.
And they keep calling them siblings. And Goro, so that means Goro's in love with his would-be sister, and he's jealous that his sister girlfriend keeps trying to hook up with his brother, and what does that mean?
I don't know, bro. I've never been grown up in an orphanage. Like, imagine if you were in an orphanage and you were going through this fucking horny feelings, and like, when are you gonna be like, when is the right moment to like, like to hit up on like the girl that I like?
When do I give in to the horny feelings for my stepsister? I don't know.
It's not your stepsister. You already know you're in an orphanage. You're in an orphanage.
Oh my god, I can't breathe. Fuck.
So who knows how fucked up these kids are? They're pretty fucked up.
They are fucked up in the head. They're just big and horny and trying to fuck each other. And so basically, episode 6, after writing 2 times with 02, Hiro's sick. Like, this fool has a fucking tumor growing out of his chest. He can't breathe. He's got a fever. This fool is growing like blue-celled cancer out of his fucking torso.
Yeah. Because
he is dying from writing with 02.
Yep, and this, like I said, and then after that, like, they end up using it a second time, but it happened to be like more compatible. Like, you can tell they were like, oh shit,
they were really hitting off on all cylinders.
Like, you can really ride me or whatever. But after that, like, that's what they did. That's what they said.
You're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh.
Yeah, because that's what they do. It's like, so the guy controls the mecha, but the girl is the one that powers up the mecha. So you
but she turns into the mecha.
Yeah.
But he is the mind, which means that he is fucking her mind.
Yes, and he's just staring your fucking mind,
through her anus,
through her writing this fucking, and it's
Hito is riding Zero Two's ass so good that he is dying.
Putting the sex innuendos aside.
Oh, we are.
If you allow me to for a sec. I mean the fights they're super cool. These monsters
They're animated well.
Yeah, these monsters we have I think the first look at the one that we were talking about
the Klaxosaurus?
Yeah, but the specifically
the Gurren the
Glugenberg?
Yeah, Gurdenberg style. So the classes of Klaxosaurs based on size have different German sounding names. Mm-hmm. It's called like the Gurenberg or some.
A Gutenberg? No, that sounds like another thing. But yeah, we see the first look at one of these big monsters attacking one of the plantations.
Right.
And we see that all the other teams are doing all right, but they're doing kind of shitty. And so like every episode from here on, it's like, come on, let us do it, because we can do it. But in this episode, they get together, Hito and 02 on the Franxx, and they do so well, they end up killing this big ass monster. So like you said, they're very well animated. And that's pretty much all these kids do. Like they're just trying to protect this plantation.
So remember when I was talking about the Hunter animation last week? I was like, what it's missing is just that little bit of just 3D like animation. You get what I'm saying? And this has that because Guardians of the Franxx is entirely 2D animation, but the Klaxosaurs are modeled in 3D and so good. And a lot of like the special effects in the mecha fighting and the firepower and the colors are modeled in 3D. It's so good. It looks like Gurren Lagann, but with better animation, and it's just excellent. It's so well animated. Like this could come out in 2020, and I would still call this like the best animated anime of the year.
Like these mechas, the Franxx, have so many abilities, and they use all these abilities and all these movements on them, and it looks really good. But like I said, everything, all the cool shit that they do can be, it's like, okay, it's a robot, it can do all that, and it just looks amazing. The robots. I mean, the monsters, the Klaxosaurs, are they biological? Are they mechanical?
Oh yeah, because they change. They change like physically, so we don't know because it's just implied they're giant fucking robots, but they also transform in almost a biological fashion.
Yeah, and even the Franxx too. When you have this connection between the two riders, you can see the Franxx literally just fucking morph.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And what else happens after there?
So episode 6, Hito's sick. The team's in trouble, so he has to jump in the Franxx with 02 one more time. He jumps in there, but through the power of their bond, he magically feels better, and the tumor falls off of his chest. And that's it. So there was a weak ass 1.5 episode subplot of this guy's almost gonna die, and it's just magically gone. Like that issue, that confrontation's already gone. And at that point, I'm being picky, but that didn't need to be there. Almost, it was a fake
death. Almost.
Yeah. It was a fake reason to be worried for him.
Yeah, because instantly is like, like he's better all of a sudden.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, immediately after this episode. Now he's even more into 02 because he's like...
He's ridden it with her twice.
Yeah, we've ridden 3 times together and I didn't die, and I'm the writer for that frame. He sees that ass and claims it as his own.
And then I think we head from this one.
Episode 7 is the beach episode.
Beach episode, yeah, I have it right here. That's fucking crazy.
We haven't watched something with a beach episode in a while.
Yeah, we haven't.
I feel like everything we were watching for 4 or 5 weeks straight at one point just had beach episodes.
And so after all I watched, you think that these people are secluded to some sort of just small house world, but no, they have different domes where you can go to the beach dome or other stuff, and it just doesn't make sense to me that,
it doesn't make sense.
It's like, where are you getting your food? Who's working? What's going on? It's like...
Because even the kids at this point are like, oh, well, we've never been to the outside world with beach. I wonder how this survived, because the whole world's like a desert basically, like and it's void of nutrients and resources, and all the kids are dumbfounded, like how did this beach survive? But this is just a backdrop to again explain how horny these fucking kids are, because all the girls are in swimsuits, all the guys are like, why are all the girls cuter today? What's going on? And it's just them being a bunch of horny weirdos, and 02 and Hito are making out in the middle of the fucking ocean, and all the guys are just watching them, be like, you're kissing a girl? That's so crazy.
What's that like? Oh, this is where everybody gets just so like
obsessed with kissing.
Yeah, they go into like, hey, what? It's like, what is that? It's like, I don't know. It's just she did it, and they make everybody so innocent.
I missed something in episode 2, which is where Ichigo and Hito try riding with each other.
Okay. Yes. They try to kiss.
They kiss. Yes. I'm glad you caught up. So a big point of that is Ichigo is offended and like upset, and even the language at this point, again, it's so innuendo-y. It's like, I'm sorry, just relax.
Is it me?
Is it me? Is that why you can't perform right now?
Am I doing it wrong?
Yeah, am I doing it wrong? What's going on? Just relax and like give yourself into me, like real predatory female-y shit. And that's the thing. So Ichigo asks Hito, she's like, so what's different between me and 02? And Hito's like, I don't know, me and 02 kissed, maybe that's
like,
it.
The monstrous is like, well, she used her mouth.
Yeah, so Ichigo gives him a big ass smooch in her bodysuit uniform, and
he's like, eh.
Yeah, he's like, eh. It didn't work. It didn't feel the same.
Yeah. So when they try again and it doesn't work.
So in episode 7, they're talking about that again, because all the guys are like, yo, have you kissed? And like Goro asks Ichigo, like, have you kissed anybody? She's like, remembering that she kissed,
Yeah,
like,
but doesn't he say it? Doesn't he say it's like, yeah, I kissed Ishiro and 02.
So then Goro's there just being a fucking
getting cucked again.
Just being a cuck, just knowing that his girl has made out with Hito.
And I told you this, dude, if you want to look at this some other way that is not around Hito or 02, is like, watch the sad story of Goro throughout this whole season. He's
my god.
He's just like one thought away from like killing everybody.
He's so upset. He's the head beta cuck, and he's just living his whole life just being second best to Hito.
And I thought at some point, I mean, they're gonna write him off somehow, like he can't be getting cut for the entire of the anime, but that's what happens.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah, he gets written off at the end of the anime.
I feel so bad. Wait, okay, so then end of beach episode. Episode 8 is literally about puberty. Like, they start using the word puberty. It's called Boys and Girls. And it's just about, like, the girls and the boys living in the house and not getting along. Because at a certain point, like, a couple of the drivers, Zorome and Miku. Zorome's the dude, like, the really annoying one we talked about in episode 4.
Little blondie?
Yeah, in episode 2. He's looking at his partner Miku in a certain way, like a certain little horny pervert kind of way.
Yeah.
And she's not taking to it well.
Yeah.
She's like, you need to stop fucking looking at me like that before I kick your ass. And like that's the whole conflict of this episode. Is like the girls having to deal with the guys being little horny weirdos and the girls being offended by it.
And I think in this episode, you mentioned earlier that is this the episode with 02 licks what's the girl's name?
Oh yeah. So her name is
Ikuno.
Ikuno.
Yeah.
So it's basically a girls versus boys episode, and the girls have separated the house in two, and they are no longer going to associate them with the boys because they're being a bunch of little horny weirdos. But so 02, playing the devil's advocate, is hanging out with the girls but instigating them, and she licks Ikuno and says, "I taste the secret." And we find out later that, straight from the wiki, it lists Ikuno as having a best friend of Ichigo and being in a one-sided love with her.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ikuno's a little una lesbiana.
Es una lesbiana, yes, she is. And but we don't find out later. I mean,
they're laying the seeds early. They're showing you early that like this could be a future plot point.
Yeah, the anime so far to me it seems like that. I mean, nothing of this is going on in the background. It's just she just said it's a secret, and I thought it was gonna be something mischievous. I thought she was gonna be like the imposter that's gonna fucking get ejected or something.
Right.
But yeah, like later on we find out why.
But see, this is where they're also trying to tie it in with the other character Mitsuru, who is this other male Stamen character as part of the squad, but he's we start seeing a lot of flashbacks from him about how he always secretly wished that him and Hiro would ride a Franxx together, which, like, we know that there's a sexual connection that has to be there for you to be able to ride a Franxx with somebody. So it's almost like in the same fashion with Ikuno, that they're calling him a lesbian,
with her rider,
with
that's our cool boy.
Mitsuru, they're also kind of trying to be like he's a little what do you call the letter J in Spanish?
Oh, okay, homosexual.
Yeah. So then,
yeah.
And then, so again, they're just hammering in the point that this is all about childhood sexuality.
Yeah,
that's all this whole anime is.
Yeah, so the like you said, like that couple, because of their non-sexual compatibility or stuff like that, they're not really good at controlling their fucking mecha,
Yeah.
Or they're always getting hurt or some reason, or or mentally exhausted or some shit, because it doesn't only affect you if you get fucked up or punched by a monster, by a Klaxosaurus, but it also drains your, like, you get fevers and shit like that. You start,
like your mental energy.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny that we're talking about a love triangle, and episode 9 is literally called Triangle Bomb. And this is just about how Goro gets caught inside of a Klaxosaur, a big squiddy looking one that has, like, its own biodome on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
So then he ejects Ichigo from the Franxx so that she doesn't also get caught up in the Klaxosaurus. So the rest of the episode is the whole team. The rest of the episode is just about the team going on to rescue Goro. So this, again, it's just trying to reiterate the love triangle square going on. Because it's just about Ichigo having to go rescue her side piece Goro with the help of her main squeeze Hiro, and that's it. That's the whole episode. So by the end of the episode, they rescue Goro, and Ichigo is just all over him, being worried, like, "Oh, you almost died," and he's just like,
that's her. Hey, that's her cuck.
That's her cuck. Yeah. She's taking possession of that cuck. Yeah. She's still got her main man, but she's like, I've also got my side cuck.
I also worry for my cuck. Yeah.
She's worried about her cuck, and like he confesses his love for her, and she hugs him in the most cuckiest.
It gets super crazy because the episode begins with kind of Goro remembering their childhood, how he was always getting cucked by Ichigo and Hiro.
Ichigo and Hiro. That would be their couple name, Ichigo.
Yeah, Ichigo. and like there was this whole thing with a pin because her bangs were getting too long, and Goro was trying to give her a pin, but Hiro beat him to the fucking punch and gave Ichigo, right?
Yeah,
Ichigo the pin that she wears throughout the whole series.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's like the end of that episode. It's just reiterating that there's a love triangle square going on.
It's reiterating how bad Goro's getting cucked, in my opinion.
See, it's interesting. Like, we are making fun of Goro, but it's an interesting plot point.
It is.
Like, the relationship on its own could be its own, like, rom-com anime. Like, this is entertaining. This is good writing. It doesn't feel too cheesy. Like, it's... And the points that it obviously knows it's being cheesy, it's self-aware. You know what I mean? When there's confessions of love or something, it knows it's being cheesy. But as far as, like, the multi-character dynamic at stake, I feel like it's really well written.
Yeah, and then at some point, like, he tries to, like, self-destruct, himself.
Yeah, inside of the Klaxosaur to try to get out.
Yeah, and they save him, and then like again, it's just that Ichigo cries. She cries for him during the call, and that's I don't know why that gave like it made Goro feel happy because she was crying over him, and then they reach him and they save him. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
But okay, so the past like 3-4 episodes we've described are entirely like slice of life episodes, right? So it's not until episode 10 that we start getting back into the main overarching plot, because this is where the kids go into the city, and the kids have never been in the city because they grew up in this Garden of Eden-esque place, and they're isolated from everybody else. But Zorome gets lost and meets a human couple living in the city that he's protecting. And that's when he finally starts learning that the adults don't procreate. They're in platonic relationships, like purely out of necessity. And we just start getting hints that there's a lot more going on than we've been led to believe. Because so far, it's been about relationships and like adolescent drama. And now we're getting back into the authoritarian future sci-fi stuff, right?
And up to this point, there was little like hints about like this, like this government like people in charge were doing all this stuff in the background. We earlier we took a little glimpse at the Ape Association,
right?
Yeah, which is like a bunch of like high members, and they discuss what they're gonna do with their Franxx.
Right, this whole society is being run by these guys in ape masks, which are, we don't find out till later, are just like high-powered scientists that were able to pay off the government through selling of magma harnessing energy technology.
Which that's how everything got up to this point, to this kind of future-esque kind of society.
Right, and that's why it starts feeling so George Orwellian, because it's a dystopian future. Like, this is 1985. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot more going on. I took my glasses off. Where are we in the plot?
Where are we in the plot? They invite the children to the city to give them a reward, because at the beginning of the episode, very mischievously, like this group ape are talking. It's like, whoa, these guys are going according to our experiment or something like that. Like, what do we do? Is like, well, we reward good soldiers, so let's reward them in some way. And they take them to the city, but they just end up like giving them medals or some shit.
Yeah, which is the most like half-assed fucking award ever.
And then at some point you mentioned that the guy that gets lost, what's his name? The little Sotome, he gets lost in the city and starts talking to this lady.
Right.
And this lady, don't you think it was her mom?
I don't think so.
Dude, I thought it was his mom. I thought she was about to say something at the end. It's like, she was like, we can be friends, or we can be something. And she was about to say something.
I think she just knows that the children are supposed to be separate from the rest. And so there's just a lot more going on, because we see that her partner lives in like a hyperbolic time chamber, and he's just like barely conscious but receiving nutrients through a machine, and it's really creepy too. It's too dystopian, like.
Yeah, and when they go get a Sotome, it feels like they're like disinfecting him, or they see him like almost like a lab rat. More than
right, and that goes with how, like in the earlier episodes, they were calling the children parasites, because that's kind of how the whole. And then so episode 11 is called Partner Shuffle. So
the swinging episode.
Yeah, and because the Mitsuru.
Yeah.
Which one's Mitsuru?
Mitsuru? It's
the dude, right? The one that's in love with Hito?
Yeah, the one that had a cool haircut at the beginning.
Right. So Mr. Man Crush Monday Mitsuru is becoming incompatible with his partner Ikuno. And so his bright idea is that they're totally going to switch up the roster. And he is instead going to be matched with a stamen of a different Franxx, who is
Kokoro?
Kokoro, right? Who is with who is she with?
She's with Futoshi.
Futoshi, and Futoshi ends up crying because his girl's being taken away from him.
At the beginning of the episode, they're having this kind of mecha training or mecha small mission where they get to hang out in their mechas together, and Futoshi he kind of is like, hey, I promise you that like I'll be your partner forever and blah blah blah. And
he tries to force a love contract with his partner,
but promise me the same thing and blah blah blah. So after it turned out he had like his comms on, so he was communicating with everybody. So everybody heard that, and then the Nana, the lady that it's like almost like mom in like
in the Promised Neverland.
In Promised Neverland, tells them if they want to, they can partner up with somebody else.
Right. So then that's when this sub-relationship.
Yeah, because Mitsuru was upset about his partnering with Ikuno, and at some point Mitsuru was like, "Well, I don't want to be with somebody," but I think Kokoro was the one that self-volunteered.
Yeah. So I guess it's just implied that Kokoro just kind of had a crush on Mitsuru the whole time.
Yeah.
So like she jumped on the opportunity right away to like meld minds with him. She was like, I want it, I volunteer.
Yeah, Futoshi.
And he's just like second cuck in charge, just being like, oh, my girl's leaving me. She wants that other guy.
Yeah, I was like, man, that's fucking crazy. But yeah, what happens? Ikuno also said something, right? She wants to be with Ichigo.
Right.
Don't they try that too?
Right. So, no, you're right. So she, being the lesbian one, has a giant lesbian crush on Ichigo. So Ichigo has her pick of the litter between two other people, being Goro and this other bitch's name's Ikuno.
Mm-hmm.
But she only has eyes for Hiro. So Ikuno is somehow able to convince the directors to let her to try to do a pistol-to-pistol connection in a Franxx with Ichigo.
Yeah, and it's so funny because they did show the pairing between Kokoro and Mitsuru when it kind of went good, but then they decided not to show anything on what would the partnering of Ikuno and Ichigo would have been like. So they just like instantly pop them into the shower, like, hey, sorry that didn't work. Like they're just getting ready to go to bed or something.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny because it's just, it's like, oh well, who knew two girls wouldn't be able to connect, and he kind of starts getting a little bit homophobic.
It's a little homophobic, and I've been trying to say that for the past 15 minutes without sounding homophobic myself, but it's kind of homophobic. It's kind of really homophobic.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Mitsuru, because in this same episode, Mitsuru is upset that Hiro forgot that Hiro promised Mitsuru that they would pilot a Franxx together.
Correct, and this was when they were kids, and we saw little glimpses at Mitsuru's resentment towards Hiro throughout this 11 episodes that we've gone through.
Right.
And he's always like against his ideas, against this, against that. So the episode tells you about how he's upset about this broken promise.
He's so butthurt.
Yeah, he's so butthurt. But then again, what was weird to me is that our MC is being portrayed as this, all around good guy. And then you see this little young Hiro being like, yeah, I'll promise you, bro. I'll write a Franxx with you. And then later on we find out that he's like, oh, what are you talking about?
He doesn't know what that means, though. Yeah. And he also doesn't remember. Like, you can't...
Well, we don't know this yet, but they delete his memories.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and this is the same time that what we don't know yet is that he's been hanging out with fucking young 02 too as well. Right.
Mm-hmm. So so you're right. So we find out in episode 12 they take us back to the original garden where the kids grew up together, which is like this facility where they train these children to become parasites, and they're plugging them full of chemicals. But we're here plot wise because 02 needs to have more tests done on her. And we're not sure what those are, but we know that they're painful because 02 is not down.
Yeah, she
Like
does
she
not
knows
like
she's
him.
gonna get hurt. She knows she's gonna get fucked up. She's not down to be tested. And this is where we learn what you're talking about. Episode 12 and 13 are about 02 also grew up on this garden, but she is a Klaxosaur. Her skin's originally red. She's this little monster humanoid creature thing, right?
Almost devilish.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, exactly. She's devilish looking, like pointed teeth, horns, the whole thing. And that's where, when she was a child, she was underneath a tree, hiding from Dr. Franxx, who was causing harm to her with his experiments. And that's where she initially met Hito. She had hurt her knee and she was bleeding, and Hito read in a book that like you should lick up wounds or something to heal them.
So at this point for me, it turned very Equilibrium. Have you seen Equilibrium? No, Equilibrium is a Christian Bale movie that it's in a weird future where people have to inject themselves with a serum so they don't feel pain, they don't feel emotions, and then all art is being taken down, like so everybody wears the same thing. So it kind of brought me into that thing because at this point we see young Hero being a very curious little guy, and he's always like, "Hey, where's the kids going? What's going on? Where he's asking a lot of questions
out of the facility. Where did they go?
He's asking a lot of questions, and like the nanas, they're kind of like noticing this, that he's like asking too many questions, and we see that he saw this little girl at some point getting transported from point A to point B, and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck? What's going on?" It's like he can see that she's in trouble,
right?
And then this little kids get tested, and he gets candy afterwards or some stuff,
right?
So he found out where she was held and broke her out, and that's when they start having like their whole
little misadventure together.
Yeah, misadventure together. I don't know. It just reminded me about that movie.
But it's about like a child's book that is in this anime. They keep calling it The Beast and the Prince.
Yes.
And it's about it's fucking Beauty and the Beast, but like the sex roles are reversed because right now the Beast is the woman and the princess is the dude. So, anyways, it's just about pretextualizing the relationship between Hito and 02, because she is a Klaxosaur, and because him trying to heal her scraped knee, he ingested her blood, which made him sick and almost killed him, but he was able to survive. And that is the only reason he is able to pilot her Franxx. And then, for whatever reason, they don't even really give a good explanation. These kids had such a great bond together that Dr. Franxx and the rest of these scientists just decided to wipe their memories. They completely wiped their memories of each other, and that was it.
Yeah, and that's why we find out, or that's where at least where I found out, that's why he forgot the promise that he made to Mitsuru at the beginning, because then you're like, well, what the hell happened? But yeah, 02, Hito, they know each other for a long time. They've been knowing each other for a long time.
Right, and so 02 was always looking for her original darling. And because she had her memories erased, she didn't realize that the whole time Hito was that guy. Which is, when you think of like what you were saying about in the very, very beginning of this, like I can't believe nerds are so obsessed with this. This is that like hyper nerd, like lonely nerd narrative that like this girl has only ever had eyes for me and only me, and we were destined to be together this whole time. And yeah, she's super hot, but I ended up together because we were just meant to be, and we kicked it off right at the beginning.
Look, at this point, I'm liking the story. At this point, I'm past the whole sexual innuendos with the Franxx. I'm past all that because the story is getting good.
It's
like,
good.
Like
it's
the story,
good.
The story is getting good, and we meet the Ninths.
Right.
We meet the Ninths into episode 12. This is the part where we find out that Hero is some way mutating because all of its rides with 02. And yeah, I think that's how it ends. Do you have anything else for episode 12?
No, that was it.
Yeah. Episode 13, we see... Yeah, that's where...
The Beast and the Prince book.
Yeah.
And then episode 14 is basically they...
I'm kind of going back in these episodes because like we talked about before, is that this is the end of a good anime for us.
A few more episodes. What did I say? Like episode
15, dude. That's your last episode to talk, dude.
There.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to put a little feeling on episode 14 at least.
So like the emotional investment really is ramping up because at this point we know 02 is mean because she had a bad childhood. We know she's a mutant. We know she's not really human, but she was abused, and we know that Hito's like emotional investment just remains high with her, and they ride. Episode 13 ends with Hito riding in a Franxx with 02 again, but she freaks out and gets hurt to the point that she starts strangling Hito.
Yes.
Right, and I don't even remember. There was a Klaxosaurus so big that like she just like almost killed him because she was getting hurt. She feels what her Franxx is feeling. And that physical trauma caused her to go mad. And within the cockpit of the Franxx, she started choking out Hito.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I explaining that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So then they use their bond together and magically defeat this giant Klaxosaur. But the beginning of episode 14 is Hito is hurt. Like, he had giant welts and choke marks and bruises all over himself because he looks like he just got beat up by his girlfriend.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Which is essentially what happened. Like, he just got, like, a bad case of domestic violence because of 02.
And which drives, like, the whole organization to, like, kind of separate him at this point, right?
Yeah, so the squad, led by Ichigo, because she's the head member for whatever, she forbids Hito from seeing 02. This guy is in a hospital room, and the only person he wants to see is 02, because again, like that WAP's so good he can't stop thinking about it. And so, but Ichigo forbids it.
Yeah, and then at the same time, we see that 02 is getting transported to the base where the nines are, correct?
Right, she's gonna get exported to a different room.
Yeah, and then at some point the nines were like, oh, look at all these pilots. I mean, you can pick and choose or whatever. And she ends up not using anybody, right?
She doesn't want to connect with anybody that's not Hito anymore.
Yeah, so she ends up using her Franxx, and her Franxx, just piloting it by herself, takes this like anim form, like animal.
It looks like a lion or a tiger or a lioness almost, like
something like that. And yeah, and also in this episode, the reason why I guess Hito didn't win back for her is because at this time Ichigo was like, "I love you," with Goro in the background.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, "No, I love you," and this and that. Again, second episode of 5 centimeters per second. At the end of the episode, it's like, "Oh no, this was never gonna love me." She kind of figures that out at the end of that episode.
See, that's the thing. So, in episode 14. At a certain point, Hito breaks out of his hospital room to go try to see 02. 02 breaks into his hospital room that he already broke out of to try to meet up and apologize with him.
But she thinks she got tricked. She thinks...
Right.
Yeah, she thinks that... Because they were not letting her see Hito.
Right. She's like, why are you hiding me from my darling? But then, I don't even remember how this happened within the context of the episode, but by the end of the episode, Ichigo meets with Hito downstairs, grabs him, kisses him, and is like, why don't you just love me instead? Like, instead of that abusive bitch. Like,
yeah, because at some point I think she has overheard that Hito will turn not human if she keeps fucking with 02.
Right.
Right? Like,
right.
And she's like, no, she's gonna take your humanity. It's like, love me. Like, Goro's cool with it.
I'm the good girl. Goro was like, fine with it.
He told me, yeah.
Goro said you're allowed to get this whenever you want. Just, like, get in here.
And yeah, but, and I can't remember really how he responded to that. But, they met up again, right?
Yeah. But the episode literally ends with Ichigo and Hito kissing.
Mm-hmm.
But then episode 15 is called Jian. Jian is it's a Chinese mythological bird, which is a one-armed, one-eyeballed bird. So it's half a bird. and they're only able to fly when they meet up with another one of their kind.
Okay.
Which is the metaphor for Zero, 2, and Hito.
Correct.
Because they're both, air quotes, Geons.
Meant for each other.
Yeah, they're meant for each other, and they can only fly with each other.
Yes. And I think big ass monsters are fucking this shit up.
Right.
At the beginning of the episode, it's one
Right,
of the Klaxosaurus is like little babies everywhere or little creatures everywhere.
And this is like my favorite episode of the anime, bro. Like, this is peak Darling in the Franxx. If the anime had just ended right here, this would probably be my favorite anime ever.
Absolutely.
Like, not ever, but like with my top 3. This would be like in that new top 4. This is with Bakemonogatari. This is with Madoka Magica. This is with fucking the Lord herself, Haruhi Suzumiya.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, this is up there. Like, if this had just ended in the context of episode 15, which again is just another episode about defeating a big bad enemy, but re-strengthening our bonds together so that we can produce a new, bigger weapon together.
And it's like the art and the fight and all it's so good.
It's
and we
so
have
good.
we have Zero 2 fighting by herself, like in this pistol, against the Klaxosaurus and at this point, Hito it's not like she's not with him. He's doing something, like he's not able to drive anyone, right?
Right, he's still like sick or something from the hospital bed.
Uh-huh.
And then, so he's separated. So then the rest of the squad's trying to fight off these giant Klaxosaur swarms without him. But then at a certain point, Goro realizes that Hito desperately needs to pilot Starlitzia. So Goro gives Hito Ichigo, and he's just like, hey,
ride my girl, bro.
Ride my girl.
So you can find your other girl.
So that you can find your other girl, so that you can save us all. Again, Goro being like the head cuck in this picture. It's like willingly giving up his girl every possible moment.
Yeah, because everybody's getting messed up. Everybody's getting in the fight. Everybody's losing. Ichigo is like, no, we can't let him ride. He'll die. Blah blah blah. This and that. She's so against it. And then Goro is like, you know what? No, I'm stopping right now. It's like, we're taking this dude over there. They end up connecting again, Ichigo and Hito.
Mm-hmm.
And Ichigo's like, fine, I'll take you. But then she goes and starts like beating the shit out of like Zero 2.
Yeah, because she's like manic at this point, because she's in that solo lioness form that you were trying to describe, where she's just going crazy and just like fighting off all these Klaxosaurs by herself. So it takes Ichigo...
Stampede, I think they called it, like Stampede mode?
Yeah, Stampede mode or something like that.
Yeah.
So she beats the shit out of Stampede mode Starlitzia to the point, and then she wakes up Zero 2, and that Hito's able to walk in there and make red Starlitzia, and they just fucking spirit bomb all the Klaxosaurs.
Yeah, so this is the time that they connect like no other time they connected before. Like they just... Oh god, so connected that they make like Red Starlitzia, which is cool, dude. Like Red Starlitzia, cool. She beat up everybody. Episode ends amazing.
Amazing.
It's
amazing. It should have ended right there. But then, like, the next 3 episodes,
mood change, like
complete mood change. Like, now there's no sense of sci-fi-ness. There's no mechas, It's just these kids isolated on the farm by themselves,
because everything's fucked up,
trying to get by without supplies.
They're sending like rations. They're splitting their shores because they don't longer have a nana.
Honestly, I kind of want to skip through episodes 16 and 17 because nothing happens. It's just the kids on the plantation by themselves. I want to skip all the way to I want to say it's episode 17 or 18?
The wedding?
The wedding.
Yeah, 18.
18. Okay, so episode 18, the kids have been isolated for a few weeks now. Through books, Miss Kokoro was able to learn what sex is, and about marriages, and about consummating relationships. So, the only thing I wrote for episode 17 is episode 17 ends with Mitsuru visiting Kokoro, and he expresses his love for her, and they consummate their relationship. Air quotes, consummate. They fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They big fuck.
Yeah.
So then, the very next episode, they have a wedding to like make their relationship official, but then the government agencies come down.
But like the wedding is so crazy because it's like, okay, yeah, they bucked on that past episode,
Right.
but then like the next episode is like they found the book that at this point 02 has recreated from the book that she ate that her mother, air quotes, mother gave her.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't know what that was.
I don't know what that was either. And they recreate it, and then the book, like I said, very like fantasy story, very Disney story. It's like princess this that, and they get married at the end. So they got the whole they had the whole context of marriage at the end of that book.
Right.
And they try to stage that same thing. So they, for some reason, they picked Mitsuru and Kokoro.
Yeah.
To be the.
Right. But so they already love each other, so they were gonna just tie the knot, and the rest of the crew was going to give them a makeshift weapon. But then the government comes down, and it's like, this is dangerous information. You're not supposed to know about having sex and procreating, so we're going to kidnap y'all and erase your memories.
Yeah, and we hear this character named Papa throughout like these episodes, and it's supposed to be like the person that they're doing all this for. Apparently, almost godly like, and or culty was. But at this point, the nines are being very like assholeish.
Yeah.
Because they go tell apparently Papa, which then causes the Nana and the other guy to be reprimanded in some way.
Yeah, because they were supposed to stop the kids from having puberty and like hooking up with each other, but they failed at that, even though Dr. Franxx said he wanted to have an experiment where the kids were isolated and maybe hooked up with each other just to see what would happen.
And yeah, like this next episode start going off the chains, and they get the kids and they fuck them up. Like they just fuck up everybody. They even say they're gonna take away their reproductive organs.
I just want to be clear that in context of like the listed episodes on the wiki, on which studio produced which episode, the first listed episode that Cloverworks produces is episode 15. From then on, episode 16, episode 17, and then from episode 19 onwards are all produced by Cloverworks. So I'm not saying that Cloverworks fucked up this anime, but I think the Wikipedia page.
Okay. I think the Wikipedia is saying that. Because honestly, like the episode 15, like we said, episode 15, it could have ended right there.
Yeah, it would have been perfect. It would have been a 10 out of 10 anime. Even with knowing that it was corny, because it was self-aware on where it was corny, on where its writing lacked, and it was so honest but well animated and still well written that it was perfect up to that point.
And honestly, for me, and this is the reason I don't like it. I did go into it with a not the highest expectations, and then with like all the horny stuff. I mean, okay, I got past it because of the good story, and then you kind of rip away the good story from me.
It's because it barely starts hitting, and then it just takes it from you.
And then it just takes it from you because it literally. The episode after the Amazing 15 episode, it just smooth swing. I can't even tell you anything else that happens interesting to Zero, to anybody. 02 is just happy. Everybody's living together. They're just learning new things like cooking, like doing their chores, living together, and they kind of make it this little bonding kind of thing. And then the wedding, I get it. It's cool, but why do I need a wedding between Mitsuru and Kokoro?
That doesn't matter. We don't care about them.
We
have no emotional event. We thought one of them was gay 5 episodes ago.
Exactly. and then they get fucked up by the government. They get their memories erased. They get like fixed or something. And these next episodes are just nothing.
They're just a blur. So basically, in just quick summation, just breezing through the last 5 episodes, if I were to try to explain it as quickly as possible. Basically, episode 19 is called Inhumanity. Dr. Franxx gets an entire episode about his backstory, which is just entirely about how he's a geneticist who is working with the Ape Agency to harness immortality through magma energy, and that was what then the advancement in magma technology by cornering the market, allowed the ape organization to overthrow every world government. But the use of said magma energy dried out the entire globe to where everything became a desert. But none of that mattered, because by episode 21, we find out that the ape organization was actually being controlled by an alien race called Verm.
Yeah, like Hydra style. Like, you're being controlled by, like, this other organization this whole time.
Right, and Verm is just some universe-wide organization meant to erase humanity and steal energy sources. It reminded me of what Marvel character was I trying to describe?
Yeah, like Thanos, like
No, the one the Silver Surfer fights.
Oh, Galactus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Verm is literally Galactus.
Yeah, terraforming anything, eating everything. It's just
That's
every
it.
single superhero like villain.
So then the rest of the anime is just 02 just flies another giant Franxx and goes into space to fight the Verm. And that's it. We meet an alien queen. We meet the Klaxosaur queen. We find out the Klaxosaurs were the original civilization on Earth, and the magma energy is really liquefied Klaxosaur. So the reason the Klaxosaurs have been attracted to magma energy this whole time was because the humans were harnessing a liquid fossil fuel form of their species.
Yeah, like if dinosaurs were alive today, they would be pissed that we were like digging up their buddies, like, and just like using it for our cars and
exactly.
shit.
We'd be that's the exact plot.
Yeah.
That's it. And then what's really gross about the context of this is because Dr. Verm we see him as what's a half robot, an android, or is that a cyborg? He's a cyborg.
Cyborg.
He's a cyborg, right? Because he's a human with metal components.
Yes. Not yet. We see him like a young Dr. Franxx when this is happening.
So his wife dies, which is introduced and killed really quickly, so we don't give a fuck about her. And he meets the Klaxosaur queen, and he's so enthralled with her beauty right away that he just allows her to just rip off his arm. But here's the thing about the Klaxosaur queen animation model, it's a lolly.
Yes.
Like, yes, in the context of the anime, she's supposed to be thousands of years old, but she's clearly a lolly, which is fucking disgusting.
Yeah, and he gets just this, like, instant infatuation towards the Klaxosaurus queen, and she, like you said, she's a lolly, and it's just weird because at some point she's fucking him up, biting his arm off. And he's still like, with a smile on his face.
Yeah, he's like, she's touching me.
Yeah, it's very weird.
So he is able to take her DNA from that interaction, and that is how he is able to clone her, and that's how he made 02. So that's how 02, the Klaxosaur queen clone.
Dude, you could have told me they found 02 in the trash can. I don't care about this fucking plot line. I don't care about anything. I just want to know what the fuck is going on. But at this point, none of this information for me, it's necessary to know.
So, yeah. So, just to throw more unnecessary information on it, we find out. So, at this point, you get the feeling that if you've ever seen Evangelion, which came out like 15 years before this, you knew that the mechas in that anime were the actual monsters that they were fighting, which is why the drivers would go crazy and turn into monsters themselves. So if anybody with like half a context of any anime were to watch even the first half of Darling in the Franxx, you know where this is going because they tell you, the whole time these Franxx were Klaxosaurs. And it's so obvious. It's a ripoff. Like, it's so, like, unoriginal, uninspiring. It's just a letdown on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's super letdown, and I don't know. I don't even know what episode we're on as far as, like, from 20.
I've stuck 19 through 24 and just a big clunk.
Yeah, and, yeah, we see this whole symbolic union between Hito and 02 towards the end, where Zero's consciousness is trapped in the big what is it? Extelia?
Sterlitzia.
Sterlitzia
apis.
Sterlitzia apis. But then they get him there to that robot again, getting cocked with Goro. They go ahead and take him over there. And
right, so Dr. Franxx created created another special Sterlitzia Frank for 02 to pilot, which is this like 1,000-foot fucking planet-sized Sterlitzia.
Big robot, yes.
But 02 inhabits it and then flies out into space to go fight the Verm. So then Squad 13, who we've been following this whole time, decides to fly Hito out in space so that he can go meet up with 02 and help her fight the Verm.
And at this point, it's like her body is on this quote unquote Earth, this the garden. She's she's at the farm, quote unquote, and her body's there, but her consciousness is in the Franxx. And at this point, there's no body. Like, so Hero gets to a pretty much just a big ass robot, which has a consciousness of 0, and then at this point, like, Hero's just like, just get in me, like, this time the robot is fucking Hero at this point.
So they just fly out into space. It takes a 2-year journey.
It turns into this big wedding dress kind of robot.
Yeah, it's literally imagery meant to look like a wedding dress, as if 02 is finally getting married to Hito. And their idea of a wedding is going to destroy the Verm civilization. Have you ever played Mass Effect?
Yeah.
The Verm remind me of the Mass Effect monsters.
Yeah.
What were they called?
I can't remember.
Anyways, but like in Mass Effect, it was just an alien civilization that came out of hyperspace every 1,000 years to destroy all sentient life to like essentially reset the universe. Which is exactly how the Verm are coming off right now. It's the most basic fucking extraterrestrial bad guy. They have no motivation as far as we know plot wise. We know no subtext about them. We know no background. We know nothing about them. But they're supposed to be the big bad guy for the series.
And and that's it.
And that's it. And that's where the anime ends. So then the anime just ends back on Earth. They made a whole another human civilization outside of the realm of magma energy.
Yeah. Goro's finally getting some respect.
Yeah, Goro got some respect. Ichigo has a kid. Everyone that we originally followed in Squad 13 is now 10 years older and has a kid. But then the very end of the anime ends that that Hito and 02 souls are able to escape the Sterlitzia Apis body after defeating Verm. And their souls are floating through space, and at a certain point, like either hundreds or thousands of years in the future, they end up back on Earth and reincarnate to live happily ever. End of anime.
And my friends, my nerds, this is how Darling in the Franxx ends, and this is why I did not like it.
It could be so good.
It could be so good.
Like, I have known people that have called Darling in the Franxx their favorite anime without finishing it. Because they know, as like any able-bodied person on anime Twitter, that it ends shittily. So they refuse to ruin it for themselves by finishing the anime.
And my whole experience throughout this was, getting over the whole sex innuendos, listen to the plot from the beginning to episode 15, amazing anime. After that, it just doesn't go anywhere.
It implodes. Like the pressure was so high that they just couldn't perform like outside of that, bro. Because like by the time you see Red Sterlitzia and you're like, wow, like, is that really how every episode's going to be from now to episode 24? They're just going to keep reinforcing their bond and keep creating stronger forms of themselves? Like, the metaphor's so obvious and the plot writing's so obvious, but it's so good. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't mind how corny it is. It could have been a 10 out of 10, but instead, like, it's like a 6 out of 10. Because, like, a quarter of the anime is just not there.
Yeah, and then there's some other times when you can it brings me back to Madoka at the beginning of the anime. I couldn't really enjoy it until the end,
right?
But this anime, you're enjoying the beginning,
but you're enjoying by the end middle, you're like, fuck this,
and then by the end you're like, fuck, man, it's like, really. And yeah, but I mean, I guess we'll bring it. That's it for what I gotta say about that.
One thing. So then who do you blame it on? Do you blame it on the studios, or do you blame it on the director? Do you blame it on Mr. Nishigori, or do you blame it on 3 studios having their hands involved?
See, man, as far as I'm familiar with how it goes into movies, I get that a lot of production might want to be like they might want to rewrite some shit or do some other retakes or whatever. In anime, I mean, if you're having a story told weekly and you're making your episodes weekly,
Right.
it's hard to make something good, especially with everything that you get as far as fan mail and fan comments and stuff like that. But I think if they were to have this story on paper first, it would have been a lot better.
Because this is an anime original work. They weren't basing it off of manga. So I think you are right. Like, if they just had, instead of writing it week to week, and they just actually, like, sat down and, like, produced it like a film, and they were like, okay, so how's this going to go? Then maybe it would have made more sense.
Absolutely. Because, like you said, it makes, what you said makes sense, too. You said that it looks like, oh, this group gets Act 1, this group gets Act 2, this group gets Act 3, and we'll just fucking,
try to
shed
make
it together. Yeah.
And it's not until Act 3 that you're like, wow, you fucked up.
Yeah.
You wholeassedly just fucked up. Like, oh my god. Like, and I'm inclined to say it was Cloverworks' fault, just because it seems like all the bad episodes were written exclusively by Cloverworks. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened there, but...
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if they would have had this story on paper, I think they would have noticed this kind of shit just going.
And as for nerds being fucking perverts for 02,
stop it.
Stop it. There's no need for that.
It's not as good as it is. It's cool. I get it. I love the character of 02, but not because she's fucking promiscuous, not because she's, like all horny all the time for Hiro.
Promiscuous.
And I get it. She's cool. Tsundere, cool. But come on, Dan.
But see, that's my thing. She's abusive in the very beginning. She's hell abusive. Mm-hmm. She doesn't care if Hiro almost dies on several occasions. Mm-hmm. She's really rude. She's really mean. She doesn't care about his friends. And, but I guess if you're a lonely nerd and your only interaction with a woman is this anime, and you assume a woman being attracted to you means that, yes, she's really mean and abusive, but she'll admit multiple times that she only has eyes for you, that's an abusive relationship in and of itself.
And that's what all these horny nerds are looking at, but then they fucking forget the fact that they mentioned several times that you're supposed to listen to your partner, you're supposed to do something for your partner. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Like, it's not just like her being hot, her being cool and shit and loving you only.
She's got big hair and big tits, but that's not it, bro.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
She can have the biggest hair and the biggest tits, but if
you ain't connecting, merging with your fucking friends, ain't nothing gonna.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
So yeah, there could be a 02 person out there, but doesn't mean that it's gonna be you, bro.
And that's why Ichigo is best girl. Ichigo was the
She's
nice
not horny
one.
enough, and I mean horny literally.
Like literal horns.
Yes.
Bro, she was about to give up everything for that man. She was like, you could have any part of this. I don't care about Goro. I don't care about none of it. I just want you, Hiro. And he was like, nah, fuck that. I want the bitch with the pink hair and the big tits.
While
garbage.
While caring for her mental state.
Men are garbage.
Unlike these horny nerds.
Unlike these horny nerds.
Anyways,
Nerd Down.
That's a good conversation. I told you. I like as much as I don't like some parts of this anime. I mean, that was a good conversation.
That was a real good conversation, and I'm glad that you, because I was really worried going into this week that you weren't even going to give the good episodes like a reason of doubt, and I didn't know if that was because I spoke too negatively of the anime early before you even watched it.
I have my own thoughts, as a person. So I usually like to digest something before I get like an outside.
I just didn't want to spoil it for you. I didn't want you to be watching episode 1 and be like, okay, this seems good, but Drew said by episode 19 it turns into trash. Like,
no, I wasn't. Yeah, I mean, you did tell me that, but I just saw it like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch it and dissect it for myself. But yeah, nerd down, nerd down.
So, Nerd Down, winner of the poll, we're going to watch Shokugeki no Soma next week.
Yeah, 25 votes. So that means we have 10 nerds voting that are horny nerds. for Darling and the Franxx.
We had an excess of 10 votes for Darling and the Franxx as opposed to Shokugeki no Soma. And that just means that there's some horny fucking weirdos out there.
There's at least 10 nerds.
There's at least 10 fucking horny weirdos out there that were just like, oh, I just want to listen to them talk about Darling and the Franxx. Please.
Mm-hmm.
Please reaffirm like my love for 02.
So I'm very excited for Shokugeki no Soma. I really like to cook. And I haven't seen this anime. I've seen a couple episodes.
I thought you did watch it.
No, I've seen a couple of episodes here and there, but not all continuously.
I thought you had already finished it because in our pilot, you were playing Shokugeki no Soma in the background.
Yeah, like I said, I watched some episodes here and there, like all like out of order and stuff, but nah.
Okay, this would be a good week for you. I think Shokugeki no Soma is really, really well written.
Mm.
It's obvious about its cheesy, quirky eccentricities at the very forefront. So at least it's honest, and like you have context on how to watch the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think season 1's really good. I'm excited for this week. It'll be good.
I'm pretty excited, and that will bring us, I guess, to our poll winner.
Yeah. Do you mean the giveaway winner?
Yes.
So the giveaway winner for the month of September with hashtag Nerds for Justice was Mr. J Garcia, S Senpai Wolf. He rolled number 3 on my random number generator, and congratulations because it was number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So Jay, some context, he is one of the individuals that basically taught me how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Really smart, nice guy. He has a Twitch, so please follow his Twitch channel at S Senpai Wolf. I don't know. He's playing some cool games. He's playing. What was he playing the other day that I didn't even know what it was? He essentially right now he's playing Monster Hunter, but whatever. He's a cool guy. I'll drop off his giveaway at the end of the week.
Personally,
he lives down the street from me.
Cool, nice, and yeah, I'm kind of upset at you nerds that you guys didn't use this hashtag this month. But thank you guys. We'll make sure what we do with the donation with so many little entries.
What are we gonna do? Do you want to just do like a flat rate then? Because it's not fair to fucking the NAACP that our audience didn't get this one.
Correct. So I mean, what we had 4 uses plus ours.
Plus ours. We can go like $20.
Yeah, we're gonna do $20.
Dude, but let's change it a little bit. Instead of donating to the Legal Defense Fund, let's just donate to the El Paso chapter of the NAACP.
Okay, yeah, we'll keep it here in El Paso. So, even though there's a lot of things, shout out to Breonna Taylor.
That decision really upset me.
Yeah, absolutely. It could upset anybody. Anybody with a heart.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, congratulations,
Jay.
We'll be sending you your tin can.
I'll drop it off this week, buddy.
Grave of the Fireflies.
I promise I won't keep it for myself. This thing's really fucking cool.
And how we spoke about this at the beginning of the episode, we're doing the El Paso Humane Society, which I love that idea that we had.
My girlfriend's dog is a rescue. She rescued her from the...
Zelda Dietz?
Zelda Dietz is a El Paso Humane Society rescue.
Aww. Yeah, she's such a lovely girl. She has anxiety up the ass, but she's a cool girl.
She has anxiety, but the issue with that is she's a medium-sized dog, but she's also half pit. So it just looks like she's bugging and she's gonna be really aggressive, but she's just
freaking out in her own mind.
She's all right. She's all right. She's been picked up from the Humane Society a couple times. Bro.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah, I've heard that like 5 times or something.
That's why she's so buggy. She's kind of.
And with that said, we want you to use the hashtags NerdyPaws.
NerdyPaws. NERDYPAWS.
Yes, please. And please send us a picture of your own pet or your favorite animal, of your favorite pet in anime.
What's the name of the dog from Part 4 of JoJo's?
Iggy?
Iggy! Oh, I'm waiting for that Iggy plug.
Yeah, Iggy plug. It's a Frenchie. Iggy's a Frenchie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I thought he was a plug this whole time.
No. Iggy's a Frenchie.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, we have a lot of favorite pet animals. We'll post some of our favorite ones in Twitter at Between Nerds. Please use the hashtag. We'll be donating to El Paso Humane Society if you do.
Please send us questions to betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Please mention us on Twitter @betweennerds.
Yes.
We are going to be posting a poll to Twitter later tonight. We're going to be posting it tomorrow. But tonight and tomorrow, please reference or please suggest to us horror anime.
Yeah, so we want to do something spooky for next month. We're going to keep watching spooky animes and stuff. So yeah, we want you guys to give us your best horror-themed animes.
Right. So around the time that we start watching, the winner of this poll will be the first full week of October. So spooky season, let's watch something gory.
Yeah.
Let's watch something freaky. I'm trying to watch Berserk 1997. I'm trying to watch Dead Man Wonderland. I'm trying to watch whatever that weird one was that was on the poll this past week.
There's one called Parasite on Hulu that I've seen.
I don't think Parasite's scary.
Okay.
I would consider it a horror, but I don't think it's that scary.
Okay, we can.
I haven't finished it, but I did watch the first 3 episodes, and I don't think it's that scary.
Okay.
Because you want something hella gory, right?
It doesn't matter. As long as it's not slice of pie. A slice of life.
Audience. Aldo wants us to watch something really gory. Yeah. So please suggest something like Elfen Lied or...
Like the weirder the better.
The weirder, gorier, the bloodier, the better. Like we're trying to go big horror this week. Please
or
help
this
us.
month. This whole month. And,
that'd be pretty cool.
You know, I mean, it's Spooktober.
Cool. Bro, I've never watched the Berserk 1997 anime.
Let's fucking schedule that if we have to.
I want to see what they suggest this week. I want to see what is suggested between today and tomorrow.
Okay. And then, do we have any more Nerd Down notes?
Nerd Down notes. I am done with my 30-day sobriety test.
Sobriety test?
Sobriety
challenge.
Challenge. I took a self-imposed 30-day alcohol-free hiatus. Me and Aldo have sat here and had 6 Modelo's each. And because as of last Wednesday, I already passed the 30 days, so good for me. I have not been able to go out on a weekend the past 4 weeks because in the first week of November, I am trying to present my graduate portfolio presentation so that I can finally finish my professional science master's program in environmental sustainability and natural resources. So I'm trying to have a master's by the end of the semester.
Hey man, I know you've been on it for so long, and it's nice because you kind of got a twofer with with the little 30 days not drinking. I know you're not super like imposed to drinking, so 30 days is an easy thing. But when you put it together to like the same pressure from like your schooling and stuff like that, it sucked that you couldn't have a beer. At least just to unwind.
It's weird. It's super weird because like when it comes to my sobriety, I always think of like the season 1 Bob's Burgers episode where the family goes camping and the kids at a certain point just tell Bob and what's the mom's name, Louise or something?
I can't remember.
Louise
is the little girl.
The kids just tell them like, "Hey, we're going to bed. Good night, bye." But you see Bob and the mom there just sitting at the campfire being like, "Isn't it weird that people just sleep sober like that?"
Oh, she's like, "It's super crazy.
It's super weird." That's how I felt all month, bro. I was just, people sleep without drinking? Like, what the fuck is this?
Dude,
like,
it's a thing. I've taken a couple month hiatus here and there. Yeah, dude, it's you get this weird feeling of not being comfortable in bed all of a sudden.
I feel more anxious not drinking.
Mm-hmm. And it's just crazy. But hey, I'm proud of you, brother. I'm proud of your schooling more, Fucking,
So, I guess I'll be in Lubbock the first week in November to defend my graduate portfolio. Crazy.
Okay, cool deal. How long will you be there?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know because I'm inclined to maybe just stay one night and see if any of my fraternity brothers can just put me up for one night and let me just defend my portfolio the next day. But at the same point, I want to reach out to my fraternity chapter and see, because I graduated like 5 years ago already. I want to see like what the group is up to right now because I know there's still national meetings and stuff like that. And I want to see if I can just stop by and see like what can happen. I'm inclined to, I don't know. I miss doing the Broadway Shuffle. Like anybody that graduated from Texas Tech University knows what the Broadway Shuffle is. The main street right across the street from campus where all the bars are is called Broadway. So all that means is you're just bar hopping between 8 different.
I think I've been kicked out of one of those bars.
You did tell me that,
Yeah.
and I think you told me you were kicked out of the one I used to bar back at.
Really?
Which is really weird. It was Crickets, right? Isn't that what you said?
I can't remember, man. It was one that it's just long and has long bar on the entrance
It's 2
side.
rooms. One room has entirely pool tables, and one has a really long bar
No,
top.
I don't think it was that one. No,
Oh, okay,
man.
okay.
No, it was some other one. But yeah, I just got kicked out because I asked for the tab. I was already leaving.
Right.
I asked for the tab. I signed the thing, and for, like, I tipped. So for me being courteous, for, like, that shit not to, like, fly somewhere, I like, reach over the bar and, like, try to put it, like, closer to their side.
And you know bartending etiquette because you were a bartender. Like, you bartended in Vegas and, like, real fucking bars.
And I accidentally, like, hit this little shot and spilled, like, a little bit off the top. And I was like, ooh, sorry. Like, I even went, ooh, sorry. And, like, the guy just kept the signal to, like, a bouncer and just kicked me out. And I'm like, bitch. I'm like...
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That sounds super annoying.
Yeah, but I was already leaving, so that's why it wasn't that.
I don't know. I haven't been back in Lubbock for a while. I hope I don't get fucking COVID because, like, apparently every fucking college town in the country is, like, popping off on COVID. But a few weeks ago, I did test positive for antibodies. So, honestly, I know you can catch COVID again, but if I did not have symptoms the first time, and I already have antibodies now, even if I were to catch another mutated form of the virus, for me personally, I'm not talking opposed to people I could infect, but for me personally, I am not personally worried for my health.
Correct. You're still gonna wear a mask.
I wear a mask everywhere I go. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I like to work, to the gym, to every fucking store I go to. I wear a mask, but that's for other people's protection.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too worried about my health being a 27-year-old with antibodies. So whatever, wash your hands, wear a mask,
please
get tested as often as possible, and do a variety of tests. If anything, for the El Paso Water Company, I started transitioning into the research coordination group. And a lot of the things we're starting to learn is that you should just do every single fucking test. Do the one where they stick the swab way up your nose, do the saliva test, do the antibody test, do all of it because, I don't know, the more data you have on yourself and where you are at with the virus, the better off.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it's, I do want to get that test, the antibody test, because, I mean, I feel like I've been, it lifts this small weight off your shoulders to know, at least you're not going to have that bad even.
Right.
But I think that's it for the Nerd Down.
Thank you for listening to episode 11.
Yes.
This is episode 11.
Double digits.
Again, shout out to Thomas Zapian for our title song. I really fucking love it. Maybe someday you'll name it. Just name it at Between Nerds.
At Between Nerds.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, nerds.
This has been Between Nerds.